And joining us to discuss, former Pentagon official Michael Maloof. Mike, NATO, as we know, has been prepping for the demise of this treaty for quite some time now. The U.S. effectively out February 2nd unless they say Russia destroys their 9M729, I want to make sure I got the numbers right, missiles, which the U.S. claims violates the treaty. Russia says the missile has a range of just 480 kilometers, just short of the range to be considered intermediate range. Your thoughts on that?
Well, you can always boost up the range on those type of missiles at any time, but Russia has kept it purposely below the threshold of 500 kilometers, which is the minimum threshold, up to 5,000 kilometers. You can do that with any system, and in order to stay in compliance, that's what they've been doing. And I think that the United States is planning to do the same thing. You'll notice that the reason for the breakout away from the INF, wanting to withdraw from the INF, is because of China. They have intermediate range missiles that they're developing. North Korea does as well. The treaty itself limits or precludes the United States from developing intermediate range missiles, but it's larger than that. When you talk about nuclear warheads and what have you, which the United States wants to develop, which exceeds anything else, this is part of the new policy. It's part of the effort to reinforce the defense establishment, and Trump made that very clear when they changed the defense doctrine, that they were and boosted the budget out of proportion to everybody else. And this is all part of the new strategy now, strategic strategy, because they view Russia and China, Iran to a lesser extent, as the adversaries, and that's what they want to address with these changes. I might add that with John Bolton as the National Security Advisor, whom I've dubbed President Bolton, because he's basically taken over Trump's foreign policy. He has there isn't an arms reduction package he likes, and I'm concerned that because of what he's now doing here, this could put in jeopardy the New START treaty, which comes up for renewal in 2021. And so I think that conceivably could be also challenged.
Well, that's a whole other can of worms that we'll have to discuss another day. Good point, though. And speaking of Bolton, he has called this treaty outdated, especially given that the treaty was signed by the Soviet Union in 1987. The Soviet Union is no more. It's the USSR now. Is this a fair characterization, that it's outdated?
Well, Russia, when it became Russia again, assumed all the responsibilities and treaty obligations of the former Soviet Union, to make that clear. It is outdated in the sense that China and these other countries are going ahead with their intermediate development. You even have Pakistan and India developing these missiles. So, but the whole lot...
A lot more people have nukes now.
Exactly, and they have nukes. What should have been, and the approach is, because they don't like arms reduction treaties anyway, the approach in any normal administration would have been, let's bring people together and revise the treaty in order to make it more inclusive given the day's realities. That's not happening, and it's just easier for the United States to use the INF to drop out and point a finger at Moscow because it doesn't like Russia anyway because of Bolton and company, and they don't like arms reduction treaties. So it's very negative. It's a very negative approach as to what could have been done.
Now, speaking of China, how do they play into all of this, given that they appear to be expanding their arsenal?
Well, that's the whole key. That's why Bolton is upset with the arms reduction treaty with Russia, that it precludes the United States altogether from making any intermediate range missiles, as long as it's a signatory. But others can, as you point out. That's what they want to address. So this is to try and meet all of these concerns and requirements.
Now, apart from Russia destroying the 9M missiles, do you see any other way to save this treaty, or maybe just create a new one altogether and bring in new countries? Well,
if we had a more positive thinking administration, I think there would have been a better way to go about this, but that's not what they want to do. And I don't see I think the United States will go ahead and do the withdrawal, and because they just don't like arms reduction treaties. Because and the other thing is that Bolton's mindset is this precludes the America First agenda of keeping the United States as strong as it wants to be, as opposed to being limited by other countries, while other countries like China or North Korea might go on ahead and do its thing.
So for now, just let the cards fall where they may.
I think that's
February
what's going
2.
to happen. But what it's going to result in is an arms race, a new arms race. And that's not only going to be very expensive, it's going to be even more dangerous, particularly given all the other politics that are going on, particularly in the Middle East, with the United States now gearing up to do something against Iran.
Let the nukes fall where they may. I'll leave it right there. All right. As always, thank you for your insight, Michael Maloof.
Pleasure.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.